Hey guys, Final back here. Welcome back to the channel. If you enjoyed this video, please hit a like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So today we'll be going through a KN-44 Ninja class setup. Now the KN-44 is an assault rifle. It has a modest damage, it has a modest range, it has a reasonably good rate of fire, and it's probably one of my favorite assault rifles, up there with the Man of War. Now obviously a lot of people also enjoy this gun, and you'll find a lot of people tend to use it as well in multiplayer, and that's because it is a great weapon overall. And it being KN-44 is pretty much the exact same thing as the AK in past Call of Duties, it's just been renamed. Now in the gameplay I go with this, I joined a match of domination halfway through, as I often do, and sadly that also means that I don't go as well as I could, only because I don't have enough time at the end. Now I do manage to drop one mothership and I get a second one right at the end of the match, but I don't really get to call it in, unfortunately, which kind of made me sad. But also in this gameplay I almost hit a nuclear, but not quite there, once again because of the time restraints. Now anyways, so let's get into the class setup today. Now, KN-44, I don't think you really need an optic. Now, obviously, I think red dot and yellow are pretty much your only optics you're ever going to use, unless you're trying to get headshots or something like that for the camo challenges, then you might choose something like the Variks. But for the KN-44, I think its iron sights are already really good, and you don't actually need to be running anything on it. Now, being so good at iron sights, it obviously means that you don't really need to get that precision aiming, because its damage is so high, you don't need to be going for those kind of precise kind of kills that you might really be going with some other weapon. Now with first attachment I run is quick draw, and that's kind of a staple I use on a lot of my classes and a lot of my primary weapons, because you know, quick draw, although it might not do much as it does with SMGs and things like that, it does make a difference. And obviously being able to withdraw your sights a lot faster than the enemy is an advantage to you. It means you can get that kill faster, it means you can run around a corner, quickly aim up your sights, get a kill, maybe, you might not even get a kill, but just pulling up your sights beforehand means that you can get that advantage over your enemy. Now for the second attachment we're running is a suppressor, and that's because no ninja class would be a ninja class without a suppressor. Now obviously suppressor allows you to remain off the minimap, and the great thing about the suppressor in this gun class setup is that the KN-44 has so much damage along with a few other weapons that you don't really notice the damage fallout. Now that means it doesn't really take that many more shots to actually get a kill than it would if you didn't run the suppressor, which can be a big problem with things like SMGs or even shotguns. I don't know why you'd run one, but if you did, it does make a big difference, and that means that it can be detrimental to you getting those high up kill streaks if you don't get enough shots into the enemy with a suppressor on. Now having a suppressor on the KN doesn't really make a difference, which is obviously very good for you. Now the third attachment you'll be running, and that also means you'll be running primary gunfighter 1, is grip. And that's because at longer distance this gun can be a bit faulty with its recoil. Now the assault rifles, and especially the KN, don't really have that much recoil. But when you're using the iron sight, then you lose that kind of accuracy that you'd have with a red dot sight, which you don't really need for mid-range combat or low to mid-range combat, but for the higher, further end combat, it can be a bit detrimental to you. So you want to be running the grip so you can obviously minimize that recoil and not end up losing the kill. Now obviously that also means that you're going to need to back off on some of these kills, because the gun does have a bit of recoil at longer range, and that recoil can be hard to do if you can't control the burst. If you try and go in a burst fire mode, that does make it a bit more effective, and that means that the recoil drops off quite a bit, obviously, because you're not consistently holding down your rate of fire, and you can get kills a lot easier that way, and grip just assists with that kind of mobility. Now the fourth attachment you'll be running, which means you'll also be running primary gunfighter 2, is fast mags, and that's because the KN-44 obviously has a 30 bullet mag, which is already really good, and because it has such a reasonable rate of fire and a reasonable damage, you don't really going to be chewing through a lot of your bullets or your ammunition as you would be when you're using something like an SMG. Where, if you jump into a multi-kill situation, you might chew through the whole mag, and if you don't have extended mags, that can be a big problem. But because of its damage, even with the suppressor on, you don't really need to be running an extended mag. You can really get those kills without having to use up your whole mag, which is why fast mag comes in, because fast mags is kind of an emergency situation kind of thing. Obviously it's assistful when you're just moving around the map, you kill someone and you just reload anytime, obviously it means it's faster. But it also means that if you get a multi-kill and let's say you get some kills and you end up using up half your mag, and then you see a couple more people and you think 15 bullets isn't going to be enough, you can use those 15 bullets up, quickly reload, and then jump back into the gunfight without having to lose those kills in the process. So that wraps it up for the attachments. Let's move on to the perks. Now for perk 1 we'll be running is Sixth Sense, and that's because I personally really enjoy Sixth Sense. It's new to Black Ops 3. If you don't know what it does, basically on your radar it'll do a little red bar ping thing depending on the direction of an enemy around you in about a 10-meter radius of you. So obviously you can go through walls, which is really helpful if you're going past the wall or going around a corner. It'll obviously ping the enemy on your minimap, and that means you can get them, or you know they're there, which is obviously very helpful for you, and it prevents you from getting those really dumb kills on you when you end up getting killed because you just walk around a corner and then someone's camping there. It can prevent those kind of situations. If you want to be a ninja, you want to see where enemies are. If you rush into their base, you want to know that, oh, they're coming through this area, so I can kill them from this angle, and that obviously helps you a lot in getting those ninja kind of kill streaks and all those kinds of things. Now the second perk you'll be running is Fast Hands. Now that in conjunction with the Quick Draw that you'll be running as an attachment is obviously going to help you bring up those sights a lot faster, and it's a lot more helpful, especially with an assault rifle, which, having your reload and having your rate of fire pretty good also means that you're going to need to be able to bring up your gun fast enough, because it's useless having the other two. Now if you can bring up your gun faster, obviously that means you can get those kills fast and you can start firing accurately at the enemy. So those two will make a bigger difference than one each alone, and that obviously means you can get those faster kills faster. Now the third perk you'll be running is Dead Silence, and that's because no other ninja class would be out. And the third perk you'll be running is Dead Silence, because no ninja class would be a ninja class with Dead Silence. Obviously, if you don't know what Dead Silence does, it basically keeps you off people's radar because it keeps you off their headsets. It obviously mutes your steps, so when you're running about, not even you can hear it, and neither can the enemies if they're sound whoring. And that also means that you can sneak past, run past an area, camp around a corner quickly as soon as enemies come past, and then shoot them without them knowing that you're even there. And that's obviously very advantageous to you if you're going to be a ninja and, duck into the enemy team. Now, obviously for the score streaks, I'm one of those people who doesn't really enjoy, having score streaks as a particular setup. I don't think there's a score streak you'd want to be using, but obviously that's up to you, so I'll leave that there. Now, thanks for joining me for this episode. If you enjoyed it, please hit a like, subscribe, comment, all that kind of stuff, and hopefully I'll see you guys in a new video next time.